You're listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. Hi, I'm Francine.
And I'm Carrie.
We're two best friends who can't stop talking, usually about Disney stuff.
Sometimes we have fascinating guests, and sometimes it's just us. But it's always positive and fun.
We're happy to have you join our chat. Thanks for listening, and let's get started. Hello, Carrie.
Hello, pal.
How are you today?
Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning. You always got to call out what time it is. Today is a morning recording.
That's what you do with a salutation sometimes.
Yes. It's a morning recording. It's a chilly morning recording. Carrie, the temperatures have been crazy.
Let me put my fingerless gloves on. Oh, wait.
I called you the other day and I saw your hands and you had gloves on in your office.
Yeah, fingerless gloves. These are from my old work. I used to have to wear them because my office would be cold. And like where I used to work, like often we were in like fairly new buildings and like the heat and the air never seemed to be right, even though it was a brand new building. So I needed to have fingerless gloves so that I could work.
I think you look like Madonna in like that video, you know, the one where she had the fingerless gloves on.
These ones have fluorescent yellow on them, so they're definitely appropriate for the 80s.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. It's been absolutely freezing here. Although I'm seeing our friends in Florida are a little chilly too.
Yeah, definitely very cold, like wearing puffer jackets and toques. Oh, it's funny.
Yeah, we've been there around this time and it's been chilly before. Like you wake up in the morning and there's some frost or things like that. It feels weird to be in Florida when it's cold.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been there when it's been that cold. Like I have been there when it's been really chilly, but it's been a while since I've been there when it's that cold. Like where you got to worry about the geckos falling out of the trees, the lizards falling out of the trees type of cold.
Yeah.
Where they wrap everything up.
It's kind of funny. It's definitely different. When you feel the cold in Florida, it's definitely different than the cold here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like it's different than the cold like in the UK. Like when it's raining in Scotland in the winter, that cold is so different than our cold. It gets in your bones. Like your bones feel damp. They feel damp and it's like you feel like you could never get warm.
I think it's like when you're in Florida, like if you're going to talk about Florida cold, like I think it's all relevant though. Like when you're there, it still feels cold. You're there and you don't have your puffer jacket or whatever, you're in trouble.
Well, I've been there before where I bought mittens because it was so cold. And of course I didn't have any winter clothes with me. So yeah, it's kind of funny. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting. I don't think we've had it where it's been this cold. Like maybe it happens like once a year-ish down there, but this one seems to be a lot louder. We've been hearing a lot about it.
Yes, absolutely. So this week, you and I decided we were going to talk a little bit about the new show that's out on Disney Plus. We don't do this a lot. We don't review a lot of shows on Disney Plus or things like that. But this one is kind of a big deal. This is the Disneyland Handcrafted, the Leslie Iwerks film. So we've heard a lot about it online, and we finally agreed that we were both going to sit down and watch it so that we could talk about it. And we did. We both watched it, but we have not really talked about it with each other so that we could get the sort of gist of it from each other, like fresh on the episode. But before we start, so it's Disneyland Handcrafted. This is like a documentary. They say through rare archival footage, experience the labor and love that built one man's impossible dream. And it's basically, so Leslie Iwerks is the granddaughter of Ub Iwerks, who was the co-creator basically of Mickey Mouse. He worked with Walt. He was an animator. He was very instrumental in a lot of things in the very, very, very beginnings. of Walt's journey, and she's his granddaughter.
And her dad was also was at Disney as well. Like so it's like three like she's
Like
deeply like
generational. Yes.
generational. Yeah.
Yes. So she's and she's done a whole bunch of things in her career. Like this is not like her first film or anything like that. She's been very active in her career, but this one she put together to tell the story of how Disneyland came to be. And you know what? I should have looked at how long it was. It was just over an hour, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you first what you thought of this before. I'm struggling for how to do this. So you tell me what you thought.
Yeah, I think it I thought a lot of it was really, really cool. It's a documentary. It's not an Imagineering story that's supposed to wow us with the bells and whistles or whatever. It's just
Right.
this is a documentary. It's showing us this footage and showing a side that we hadn't seen. Like I liked it as a Disneyland fan, like because it shows so much of like the things I've always wondered about Disneyland. Some of it was addressed, like seeing things that I kind of had imagined what it would have been like or what it looked like or how it happened and finally getting to see a little bit more of it. Because I think some of the
Mm.
snips, like some of it is in the Imagineering story series that's on Disney, but I think I don't know, I think it just shows a lot of like what you said, like it was really almost an impossible dream. And I think the footage and what they talk about in the documentary kind of proves that that yeah, it was only a year. It only took a year. And then as I was watching it, it's like, how on earth did they get it done? Like it's really truly is a miracle, like how much of a risk it was. Like how
Yes.
it could have like it probably felt like until like a month before, or maybe even a few weeks before, that the potential of it being a total fail was like could have been a reality. So so I think it's yeah, it's far from fancy. It's really just clips and voiceovers, and I think like that's I think she said on the Walt Disney World News Today podcast, like like they didn't want to do extra interviews or whatever. They were just doing voiceover and showing like this raw film to show what it was really like. And I think like in if like they've succeeded in doing that, right?
Yes.
It's not what you would necessarily expect. Like if you've watched the Imagineering stories,
Yes.
you wouldn't. You probably would think it's a little dry. So I think it is like really for those that are really into the Disney history or Disneyland history specifically, um, would enjoy it. Like they would appreciate it. I think like that's the thing. Like I appreciated
Right.
seeing all of that stuff. So
I think you absolutely encapsulated it. Like I think I appreciated it. I loved as a Disney fan, I absolutely loved seeing footage that I've never seen before about how it came together. It wasn't what I expected because in typical sort of quote unquote Disney documentaries of some kind, there's always a an element of almost like encouragement and nostalgia and like the voiceovers that talk about why this was impossible and the arc, the climax of it open. Like I didn't feel that part, that sort of inspirational voiceover, because it was really like a documentary, like that kind of dry documentary of information. So I appreciated the information. I guess I missed the little bit of the Disney magic, the marketing of it that pulls on the heartstrings kind of thing, right? Like that part,
mm,
the almost like the love story that goes with it is the part that I just kept waiting for. And so
yeah,
something I didn't know, um, and maybe I don't know how I didn't know this, but the reason that it was a year was because ABC had invested in the opening of the park, and they only funded them for a year. And the document, so they were supposed to, on their weekly show, document the evolution in the building of this park, but they only had a year to build it because that's all they were funded for from ABC. So it was supposed to be open at the end of that year because everybody on TV was watching it for so
Waiting for it.
long, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's so many great business lessons and dream, to me, I'm like, you and I are going to sit here and talk about all the things we got out of it and the, oh my gosh, and can you believe, and blah, blah. That's what I kind of felt like it missed in
Hmm.
the actual documentary. But like watching them, did you, I wanted a cigarette after that, watching that, because all of that footage, you can see everybody smoking back then, no matter what they were doing. They were
Yeah.
standing on the edges of buildings and scaffolds and driving trucks or whatever. Every one of them had a cigarette hanging out of their
Yeah.
mouth.
And the only person that was like tied up with like people that were doing like some really crazy things, like when they were putting the flagpole up, like the guy was all tied up to a crane, but generally like these men were like walking around, like walking on top of the Mark Twain riverboat as they're building it and just walking along the edges really high, nothing, whatever, with a cigarette, the cigarette hanging out of their mouth. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah,
Did
like
you
in
did you think about the safety? Like the whole documentary, all I kept thinking is, well, first I'm thinking it took you a year to build this entire park, and you didn't have the technology we have today or the machinery and things like that. They're building a new land in Magic Kingdom, and it's going to take them like 2 years just for this little
Mhm.
land. And they built the whole
Yeah.
park in a year. But then I think they didn't have the paperwork. They didn't have the safety. Like they clearly had no safety regulations like we do today.
And but they wouldn't have even like the technology like to design a lot of the stuff the way they would do things today either, right? Like to an extent, I
Yeah.
guess they would have, but I just thought like most of the documentary until it gets to like when it's like 3 months before, like all they're showing is like piles of dirt. Like, and to me it was like, and then the thing that got me too was with like really seeing them, the artists like working and building like the castle and doing whatever, but like watching them put the railway in, I was like, that's unbelievable. Like like in the middle
Yes.
of all this, like they're like, okay, maybe it's not across the country or whatever, it's around the berm, but them, the intensive labor and just building the railway tracks.
They
Forget
had the
about
two guys
everything
with those big
else.
sledgehammers, and the one like they were hitting it in like a rhythm, trying to get it in the right spot. It,
Yeah, like how did they do all of this in a year? And even like with building everything, like they built everything from scratch, right? Like they
mm-hmm.
built the Mark Twain, they were building the castle, and like just kept showing snips of like them really like doing all of the detail work, and like that
Yes.
the detail work on all of that stuff should have taken a year. Forget about building it from a. I love seeing the footage like where it's just like a field, like there's nothing there. And then you
Yes.
think about what Disneyland is now, or even what it would have been like 10 years later from that point, like the area around it. And it was neat to see. Like I know there's pictures out there of what Disneyland looked like when it opened, but I think this also helped because they did show a lot of like opening day. Like it was really interesting. I like seeing all of that stuff and seeing I don't know. I think it's just to show like it's almost like it was a miracle that happened, or it was the miracle and
Yes.
and 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 the best example of determination and drive and desire to do something. Like Walt had pretty much remortgaged everything, like his life insurance. He did everything to get this built, and to
Yeah.
think of what it became, like enough that however many years later he decided that he's going to buy a property in Florida and make Walt Disney World, right? Like going from that barely opening, almost going bankrupt. Like I think one of the voiceovers says like he said, I've been bankrupt 5 times, like what's another time type of thing. Like
Yes.
like all of that that he gave or whatever, everybody did, to make that happen. And look how successful it was. Pretty much, maybe not automatically, but obviously
Yeah. Yeah.
successful enough
Watching,
to kind of.
when you think about back then when it was just the dirt, it was just a dream. He had mortgaged everything. He had nothing, like, he literally, it was the biggest gamble of his life. And imagine his wife, like everybody saying, "You're nuts. Like, you're absolutely nuts." And you know what really struck me is there's these, one of the clips was him coming in on the train. Like, it wasn't built yet. Nothing was sort of, but they had made the train, and he was testing it. And he has this huge grin on his face. And I think, imagine the stress that you would be under. The entire world is watching you weekly hemorrhage money to build something that nobody believes is going to be worth anything. And he's got a smile on his face. Like, you have to
Mhm.
wonder what, like, that kind of resilience and determination in your brain to be happy while doing this. And you have no idea if it's going to work. You could be setting yourself up for the biggest failure on TV ever.
Time, like, think of all the things he's succeeded in, like with films or whatever. Like maybe by that time he's a lot older. He's probably like he's worried, but maybe he's like, "Ah, it'll all work out in the end, and whatever. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But
Whatever.
look what I've done so far. I don't know." And plus, he's running a Walt Disney Studios. It's not like he's like everything
Yeah.
stopped for them to build Disneyland. Like life's still going on with everything else to do with the Walt Disney Company, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah. And you think like how much stuff was going on. And when you watch them, like, I loved some of that footage where they were on Peter Pan. And it just looked like a box. And I kept thinking, safety, safety, safety. Like, it looked like she was sitting on like a little cardboard box that they were testing out the tracks on. And I kept thinking, this woman's going to fall off of there. No safety.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I think imagine what it would have been like to be one of those people working on these things, like building a ride like that. Like, if something like that had never been done, like think about how exciting it would probably be, I would expect. And think about like what they became. Like that's the Imagineers of today. Like it all started with them. Like they didn't know what they were probably. They were, well, Bob Gurr was he wanted to be he was a car designer, and then he
Yeah.
ends up building like every moving vehicle in Walt Disney World, right? Like so, like them not knowing even what the future would hold or what they were doing meant. Like I thought about that too, like seeing them, like all these people that are working, and they and like the part of history they're
Yes.
experiencing or part or contributing to, that they're just working. I'm sure they're just going to work, some of them, to get their paycheck. But but yeah, like the artists and the people that did certain types of work, it would which pretty much everybody, like they were all building, like even the guys that were building, like that are building a riverboat, like they
Yes.
probably didn't think their job was going to be building something like that, or pirate ships flying from the sky. Like so I thought about that a lot too, like what like seeing, it was neat to see people working and seeing all the people working and all that. I thought that was cool. So
Yeah. As a leader, he was definitely someone who he just believed in people's capabilities. And I think we miss that sometimes these days when, you like, he just asked people to do things. And the Imagineers and Bob Gurr, they've said it before. Like, I had no idea, like, a monorail. Because what was it? I think Bob Gurr said, like, I thought monorails originally were suspended from the air, not sitting on a track.
mhm.
And then he's like, go build me a monorail, Bob. He knew nothing about this stuff, but for some reason, Walt just had a belief that these people would figure it out, and they did. Like, they
Yeah.
just figured out how to make these things work. And so much of Disneyland was built on people just figuring it out.
Cool.
It was amazing to me sort of how some of this stuff came together by hand versus machinery that we would use today. Like to your point with the train, the train tracks or whatever, and watching them put that down, like it was people's hands. The only
Yeah.
real machinery that they had were cranes. So even
Yeah.
like the flagpole, they just had two guys on ropes being swung around by a crane. The guy going up to put like, so they had that big tower where the castle now stands, and thank goodness Walt hired photographers to actually document the building, right? As well as for the world of Disney and stuff. But you watch those photographers and they had like all this scaffolding and a camera perched at the top. And then the guy goes up to fix the camera or whatever. And he's just climbing up the side of the scaffolding in his like khaki pants. And like they're not running shoes or work boots. Like these guys were showing up in like button down shirts and then climbing scaffolding to fix their cameras.
I know. I thought about that when they were doing like they had the Mark Twain when it first went around the river or whatever they were when they were testing or whatever they were doing, and they had the video, like the guy videoing it, but like they pretty much had him like up on a crane in like a handmade like box where with his whatever. And you think nowadays, like look at the drone work and everything that we do, and they literally had to like two
Yes.
by four a box together for this guy and rig it to a crane to like roll out to swing him around the rivers of America so that they could catch like 360-degree video of the riverboat.
Yeah.
Like
And he was just
crazy.
balancing on it. And they really was a swing. Like they swung him. Yeah.
So
I
funny.
I couldn't believe the safety stuff really kind of got me, but then you're right, like some of the detail work, watching them make the brick on the castles and on the walls look like textured.
Mm.
That was all by hand. Like they didn't spray that on. Like they were going and putting cement and then like touching it to make it textured.
Yeah, crazy. It was neat, like when they were showing the Jungle Cruise and the waterfall. Like some of the stuff like that's been there since the very beginning. Like the I don't know. I think I like stuff like that was kind of cool to me. Like I've always wondered, like what would it be like to ride through some of those things or see exactly how they were right when they opened. Because I'm sure, like there wasn't okay. They did built it in a year. They built it all by hand, but like they're not building any Space Mountains or any
Right.
monorails or anything. Like they're building, you know, there's
The
just a few.
teacups.
They have just a few attractions. A lot of like
Yeah.
even thinking doing something like the Jungle Cruise from scratch. But it's not to the what the Jungle Cruise is today. Like there's lots more in the Jungle Cruise now versus then. But like
Right.
so there but still like they've still had however many hundreds and hundreds of acres they said that piece of property is, like doing all of the main street and the train. And I love seeing the Casey Jr. footage. I was like, yes.
Yes. As soon as I saw the Casey Jr. train, I'm like, oh, Carrie will love this
Yeah, they
part.
were showing like when they were like doing the woodwork of it. I'm like, that's a Casey Jr. train. That's a Casey Jr. train. They showed the pirate ships in the Casey Jr. train. Um,
It was really interesting to see the stuff that's still there. You're right, to see how it
some of
how
it's
it came
exactly the
together.
same. Like
Yeah.
like the Casey Jr. train still looks like the Casey Jr. train. I'm sure they've redone them to make them out of
Yeah.
better materials or whatever. But yeah, like some of that stuff. Like I don't know why I was surprised. Like even Main Street,
Yeah.
it's it's just like of course it's the same. They're buildings, but it's like the fact that they made that perfect street all those years ago is
Yeah, and
just
it
is
didn't need
amazing.
and they've never felt the need to redo it. Like meaning it was that perfect out of the gate.
Mm,
It still has the same feel. Yes, they've updated things along the way, but it still has the same feel all these
yeah.
years later.
Yeah, so that I thought that too. Like some of the things that are exactly the same now, I think, oh my goodness, like they made that perfect from the get-go. Like that crossed my
Yes.
mind too. Like that way back then, that's how, like that was the vision to design it exactly like that all those years ago. And that it stood the testament of time. Like it is still
Hmm.
does what it's supposed to do and is amazing.
I thought that I was thinking that about the Peter Pan boats, like the ships
Hmm.
that you get in. And I just thought that concept all these years later still works.
Hmm.
It still works. How ahead of their time they were. And the teacups.
Hmm.
And did you see them putting the camera on to try and get like an actual video of being on the teacups? And they had to prop this camera up around the cup, and it was very they were very inventive about what they needed to do to get what they needed in terms of
Hmm.
footage.
Definitely. It was awesome. That part. Sure. Liked it. It just wasn't as like pizzazzy as
That's it. There was
as it
no
was
razzle dazzle.
it was, and after it was done, I watched the first couple episodes of the Imagineering story. And yes, one is a traditional documentary, and the Imagineering story is a TV show
Right.
slash documentary for Disney Plus. So
I
definitely
just
lots of
think
razzle dazzle.
they really could have called out some of the, you know, like actually had the full kind of story speaking in the background, because not every, like we know the story, but not everybody does that would watch something like this. And it's such a great opportunity to talk about resilience and determination and just pure grit to get something done. And a lesson in failure, because the opening day was not a success by regular standards. That extra footage was pretty cool to see, the opening day footage that we really haven't. I don't know that I've ever seen some of those clips.
There's lots of people in there. Holy smokes!
It
Like
was shoulder to
I don't
shoulder.
know that I've been in present Disneyland when it's been see, but I guess they didn't have lots of
Exactly.
things. They didn't have as many things to spread people. But yeah, I think yeah, she like there's no extra editor like there's it's just the interviews of people talking behind. Like there's no extra um voiceovers like explaining everything. Like she's let the clips from like the people like the Imagineers or whoever Walt Disney like
Right.
she's letting them tell the story instead of like doing a voiceover.
Which I appreciate. And I think had it been anything other than Disney, I would have been like, this is awesome. I think it's just because it's Disney, I expected a lesson, a story, some razzle dazzle. You know what I mean? I think that was my issue. Um, but there was so much great information in it. And watching those people show up on opening day in those outfits and their heels and their makeup and their hair coiffed. And they said it was like roasting so bad that the streets were melting. And you saw those people shoulder to shoulder. And even the kids were all dressed up in their Sunday best,
Yeah, that's just how you went to a theme park back in the day,
right?
I guess.
It's pretty phenomenal to think that in 1 year it went from nothing to that.
Yeah.
It's such a good business lesson. It's so many good lessons. You have to draw your own. But it was awesome. Um, I do love when they do those things on Disney Plus and they have sort of more behind the scenes, and seeing some extra footage is because we've all seen like Ronald Reagan on Disneyland and you know what I mean, those things, but seeing the extra was pretty cool.
Mm, very.
Yeah. Yeah. It's impressive. Very much so. So if you haven't watched it, you should go to Disney Plus and watch it. It's Disneyland Handcrafted, and definitely worth a watch. I'd be interested to hear what others thought of it, um, and how you guys felt it landed. That's our expert review.
Would
Our
you?
expert review.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we
That's
got.
it. That's all we got. Those are our thoughts.
I'm sure we could talk about it for another half hour, but I think we should just say, yeah, that's all that we got.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
us and our reviews.
it's fun to
Cool.
have different things too, like to watch. It's nice to have something new
Yes. That's the
to see.
problem. Like as we get further and further away from opening day, there's not much more to discover. Do you know what I mean? Like I like there's not much more that you can see or learn, or there's no new quote. Nobody's going to stumble upon a new quote from Walt, or that's the sad part is that we've sort of learned everything. So seeing some of these clips were nice that they had found additional clips that haven't been seen before. Yeah. And I hope generations to come can look back and appreciate this, and they probably watch it and think, "Oh my goodness." Like, and you know what I found funny with all the people returning to office? Did you hear Bob Gurr saying like it was frustrating when the day came to the end because he had to get in his car and drive home and then like turn around, like he hated the travel time. Like he would have been happy to just stay there and
Yeah.
keep working.
Then have to go home and come back.
Right? What a great work environment that everybody was that invested and believed. And imagine how they felt. Like I kept thinking, imagine how they felt. So I don't know why Peter Pan for me just kept sticking out, but imagine the guys all designing Peter Pan and opening day watching the people come off it.
Yeah.
Imagine that feeling. I mean, obviously Walt would have had that amazing feeling for all of it, but even just like the young Imagineers that had designed that and then watching people come off that attraction.
Hmm.
How fabulous.
Yeah.
Amazing. And you know, if it wasn't for that year, we wouldn't have all the stuff we have today.
Exactly.
Glad he took a chance.
Yep. Thank heavens.
Yes, because what would we talk about?
Yeah. We wouldn't know each other because it was Disney that brought us together.
Yes, absolutely. Gosh, how different our lives would be. You know, because there's always some pixie dust in our lives, Carrie. It's that time of the podcast because I think we've beaten the Disneyland Handcrafted to death. Um,
Yeah.
I forgot to ask you if you have pixie dust before we started, but what
Yeah, I
brought you
do. Of
joy this
course I
week?
do. I have
What?
a joy that just like 2 nights ago, Glenn and I, we did another puzzle competition and we came in second place. So that's our pixie dust. We got the
Woohoo!
puzzle. We did a really good time too. We
You
were
did
like just like
amazing.
47 minutes for our 500-piece puzzle, which is pretty good. That's about as good as we can get puzzle. Like we're never going to be the 30-minute people that can do a puzzle in 30 minutes. So if we get like anywhere around like the 45 to 50-minute mark,
You're pretty happy
we
with
feel
that?
like we've done very, very well. Like, yeah, that's so A, we want to finish the puzzle, and B, if we can do it within sort of that window where we can, when we do our best, then we're happy. So yeah, we got to bring home two puzzles, the one that we did, and then they let us pick another puzzle, and then we got a gift card for the bookstore that we were at.
That's
So we bought some
awesome.
puzzles. So we bought some
Shocking.
puzzles.
Shocking.
Shocking. So, and then this is because it was close to home. We had my mom and my aunt were there, and Glenda's mom and dad showed up. So they were taking pictures of us and chatting
I
while we
love
were
that.
while we were doing our puzzling. I figured they might as well come and watch, considering we're usually not that close to home. So it was really close to where we live. So yeah, our parents came, so that was good.
I love that.
These
Your
50-year-old
parents
ladies
came
having
out.
their parents come to watch the puzzle like they're sports.
I love it. I love it. Your parents came out to watch your sport.
Pretty much for all the sports they never watched. Oh, whatever. So,
I think
what's
that's
your pixie dust?
fantastic. My pixie dust, well, it's happening tomorrow, but by the time this goes live, it will have happened. Tomorrow is my nephew Andrew's birthday. So super excited. We're getting to, we get together for dinner. We do a family dinner. And this time, so his girlfriend's coming as well for dinner. Of course, because she'd like to be with him on his birthday. So we're doing the family dinner at a place that him and his girlfriend go to all the time. It's like it's one of those places where they have the cooker in the middle of the table and you put the meats on and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that because it's always a good meal. So I'm not eating tomorrow. I'm not eating lunch tomorrow. But yeah, it'll be nice. And we'll do cake and, fun stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. So it's Andrew's birthday. Yeah.
Aww. Happy birthday, Andrew.
Yeah. So that's my exciting day ahead. So something nice to look forward to. And if you made it all the way to the end of this podcast, we want to hear what you think of the Disney Plus premiere of Disneyland Handcrafted. And let us know. We get emails from our listeners all the time, Carrie, and I love getting them. It's so nice when they reach out and tell us they've heard stuff that we've said, and
tell you stuff to tell me about the Muppets.
Yes, I get emails all the time. Let Carrie know, blah blah blah. It's perfect. It's good. It's good. So keep them coming, and thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
Make sure you're following us on your favorite podcast player so you'll get a new episode every week. And find us on social media too. We'd love to hear from you.
Till next time, remember, you are never too old to be young. Chase your dreams and design your own happily ever after.